Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the alternative Carousel Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to a PDF with instructions. So to get started, head over to your theme editor, navigate to the page you want to add the section to. Over on the left, click Add Section. You can start by typing it in to find it quickly. Click it, and you get a default layout that displays. Over on the left, we have all the different slides that appear here. You can add more and move them around or delete them and so on. And over on the right side, we can set all sorts of settings for it, which we'll get to in a minute, but let's first add some content. So clicking on the first slide, you can add in an image. So let's add in this image here. We could set up the title. So let's just put in title 1. HTML element. This is good for two reasons. One is for SEO purposes. Search engines, if you don't know, search engines give higher priority to the higher headings between H1 and H6. So it gives them. So if you don't know, search engines give higher priority to the text, or more importance to the text in each of those heading tags. The higher the number, the more important it is. Usually H1, it's recommended to have just one on each page, but then you can use H2s and H3s and so on. And the second reason is that you can use these to actually utilize what the theme already pre-styled for these different headings. So if you could see, if I put in H6, then I have already set up a different setting, different style for each one. But you can, below I'll show you where you can just set up whatever you'd like specific to this section. Moving down, you can add on some more text, like so. You can add a button. To add a button, just add in a label, and then select a link. So let's just do product, for instance. And that's it for each of these slides, so that we can move in here. Let's add in another image here. I won't bother with updating the text or anything like that for the sake of examples. Last one. Okay. So if you'd like to add more, you could just click on Add Item and it automatically adds. If you'd like to remove it, just remove the block. Now let's get into some of the settings for overall. So clicking back on the top of the section and over on the right, you can set the section title, which is here. You can use this, for instance, for testimonials. You can use it for product highlights and things like that with buttons and so forth. So you could scroll through. Set the HTML element as I described before, and the text block content. Here you can set how many slides you'd like to appear at once. So we know we have a maximum of 6, but we can do just 3, and then they become larger, or 2. Or we can do 5, for instance, or whatever. Let's just leave it at 4 right now. And then on mobile, you could set either 1 or 2. So if we go into the mobile view, right now we can see 1. We set it to 2, and you can see 2 at each time. With 1, we also show a sneak peek that you kind of can continue and look at more, that there are more available to read. We can set autoplay so that it moves, so that it advances automatically. Here you could set the speed between each one. So you have 4 seconds. You can do it for 1 second, which will be really quickly. Turn that off, and we can add more space between each slide. Like so. As you can see, it makes the images a little bit smaller, but it adds more space between. It makes them smaller because we also want to limit, we want to display 4 at once. Here we have the image, the arrows. Well, right now, these are default arrows that we provide, but you can either change just the color of them, or below here, you can select different types of arrows to display. Like that. And alignment, we can set it to be on the left as it is right now, to the right over here, or below the title, right over there. And it all works just the same. Moving on down, we can set a section background color. So let's say we want to have this block just like that. Within that, we can adjust the width of the entire block, so or give it a max width. So we can make it much smaller if we'd like, or we can make it bigger. And we can also set it to be full screen, where it would stretch to the edges of the page. And then this max width will actually control the content within that, but the section actually stretches so that it gives a banner kind of feel to it. Next, we have margins and padding. Margin is the distance above and below, like outside of the section. So if you have more sections above and below, you can give more space between them, and it'll push the section down and push whatever is here down below. And padding is the space within the section. So if we can add padding, because we want some more space in there and more space below here, and horizontal padding as well, which usually you don't really see this difference when you're in full screen, but when you're in regular, then adding more padding gives some more space within that as well. We have the same settings for mobile, so you can adjust it differently. So so many times you want different spacing on mobile and so on. So you can use that, set those here. And we come to section title styling, which is this section here. Like I said, if you don't want to import or to use the existing styling, you can always go into here, change anything there. You can set the alignment, left, right, or center. You can choose a custom font if you want to use a different font. Font weight, font size, line height, and letter spacing. Line height will adjust that. We can keep this at 0. Keeping it at 0 uses the default. And the same settings go for specifically for mobile devices. Next, we have section area, the text area. So this area here, we have the same settings for color, fonts, font weight, font size, line height, and spacing. Next, for the images of these slides themselves. So the slides, we can set to either be portrait, like that, or square. And so there would be cropping depending on the type of image that you place in there. It's recommended that all the images are going to be the same size, and it's all planned out ahead of time. But you can always just do a crop if you have a mix of images or something like that. You can set the alignment of the image of the text. So you can have it center aligned, right aligned, or left aligned. You can set the margin top of the blocks themselves, if you like, and the margin bottom as well. Title styling, just similar to the section styling, you can set the styling for the title, for the text block, and of course the margin. So if you want more margins from the image, you can set that up, or font size and so on. And this affects all slides. And for the text area as well here. And button styling, just the same. You can set a custom font for it, font weight. You can set the width here to be a little bit bigger, but it really does depend on how many items you're showing here. So usually this isn't as relevant, but it is just a play of how many items you're showing in a row. But you can adjust that. You can set border width, so you can have set a border once we set a color down below where I show you. Border radius, you can add some more space between the button and the text, and add some padding, all depending on the styling that you'd like to display. Font size and letter spacing as well, and it's all the same for mobile. And then for colors, you can also set colors, and here you can see now the border because it was the same color, and the text color and so on. And for the hover, so you see it's now set to black, so that we hover over and it's set to black. And that's it. So thank you again, and we hope that this section helps you achieve your website goals. And if you encounter any problems or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on the support page or on the contact page. We'll be happy to hear from you.